The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I want to introduce yourself, all of ourselves, to a truly great American hero. Someone who's not afraid to tell it like it is. Someone who is at one point part of the military establishment. In fact, so high up that he was Admiral of the 6th Fleet in the Pacific. I'm talking about Admiral James Lyons. Just a little introduction here because I made a little reference to it earlier, and he's going to talk about this and other matters. But we have been losing more men in Afghanistan per capita, given the number of men there, killed and maimed, than in any other American war in modern history. And the reason for that, in large part, are our rules of engagement. Our troops cannot fire upon the enemy against the Muslim jihadist enemy unless they're fired upon first. They have to wait for the enemy to lay their arms down to see if they're going to fight back. And the ultimate fear that you might take collateral casualties from the Muslim population. So who takes the casualties? We do. We take the casualties. And that policy is in large part been made worse by one Barack Hussein Obama, who hopefully is listening to us right now and doing his work, which of course, rather than being on a golf course in Tehran. Right. So I want to introduce you to Admiral Lyons. He really is a great hero, and the fact that he would come forward and other military areas will come forward to speak for our troops and for our nation is more than commendable.
Thanks, Larry. It's great to be with you all today. And I want to thank you all for coming, because with your presence, you are sending a message. You know there are problems. Yes, indeed. And of course, one of the problems is the Obama doctrine. Yes. Now, you may not know what it is, but let me tell you. It's to undercut our friends and allies, leaving them confused and feeling betrayed. Right. We become an unreliable ally, which has only emboldened our enemies. It's based on the false promise that American power has been part of the problem. Therefore, anything that undercuts American power is seen as objectionably progressive by this administration. This is what's behind the unilateral disarmament of our military forces. The draconian budget cuts under sequestration was an Obama initiative. We are headed in the Navy for the smallest Navy we've had since prior to World War I. Not World War II, World War I. The other services are suffering similar reductions. Wake up, America! Our national security is being jeopardized. We have wonderful people in our military. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Compounding the problem is the social engineering that has been forced on our military personnel, which has weakened our traditions, customs, morale, and most importantly, the will to win. That is right. This cannot continue. Our personnel did not join the military to be sacrificed. But that's what's happening in Afghanistan under the restricted rules of engagement. In the false hope that we will win the hearts and minds of a tribal society. This is nonsense.
Exactly right. You're exactly right.
The restricted rules of engagement are well known by the Taliban.
Yes.
They use them against us.
Yes.
And as Larry has said, you can't fire on a Taliban unless he's firing at you first. Or if I see a Taliban walking away from an IED that he just implanted,
Right.
I can't shoot him. This is crazy.
Yes, crazy. Worse than that. That's crazy.
You've all heard green on blue.
Yes.
The murders of our personnel by our, quote, Afghan military allies.
Yeah, right.
It's been explained by some of our leadership that it's our fault because we are not sensitive enough to the Afghan 7th century traditions and customs.
Right.
So if you see an Afghan sodomizing a 5-year-old boy,
Shoot it.
our troops are told to turn away, don't interfere.
Yeah.
The same way with an Afghan beating a woman. Turn away, don't interfere.
Right.
This is un-American.
That's correct. That's correct.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.